we're going about it in a very transparent and apolitical way.
The fact that you're considering a rerouting of this instead of just denying the permit in the first place mean that you're inclined to approve it?
Not necessarily. Again, we're still in the decision-making process. No decision's been made, and
Yeah, but if you didn't like the idea in the first place, you would have just said no to the permit. You wouldn't have tried to find a way around. Tried to find a way around to address some of these concerns, which, from looking at it from the outside, strongly implies that you would like to be able to approve this.
It doesn't imply anything. We're going about this in a deliberate fashion. We're looking at a range of issues, and we're trying to make the best decision.
Why not just say no to the whole thing?
Because you
could have done that. Correct?
Correct.
You could have not issued the permit. Instead, you chose to look at another route.
Matt, no decision's been made. Our process continues. We're looking at all aspects of the decision. Environmental is one of them. There's other aspects as well as we move forward.
Why didn't you just say no to the whole thing then?
Because we haven't made a decision yet. The process is ongoing.
Well, you essentially have.
Sure.
You want to say yes. You're looking for a way to say yes. That's
I disagree.
The way it looks. No?
Last night, TransCanada said they were going to reroute the pipeline.
Right.
There'll be more environmental reviews with the Nebraska agency and the State Department. Can you give us a timeline on that?
My best estimate is that the timeline has not changed at all with regard to what we said last week. That based on previous assessments of similar distance, we anticipate the evaluation could conclude as early as the first quarter of 2013. I don't think it's changed at all, and I think we put out some comment last night that basically tried to address this. Nebraska, TransCanada are working together, and we're working to support them, but nothing's changed with regard to the timeline that we laid out last week.
Has the administration changed its point of view now that TransCanada is saying we'll go somewhere else? Has that changed anything with the administration? Again, I would just characterize it as, TransCanada and Nebraska, the state of Nebraska, seem to be working together constructively, and we're working as well with them. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You spoke yesterday about the grant of asylum to a Pakistani journalist.
Correct.
Now, some reports in Pakistan suggest that by accepting his asylum application, U.S. has actually accepted the nationalist and separatist movements and legitimized them that are going on in Balochistan. Do you have a comment on that?
Other than to say that we don't discuss, refugee status and asylum cases, but they're made on a range of criteria. It doesn't imply anything policy-wise.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, sure.
Let's just boot this out completely. Who made this decision on asylum?
It
was unconnected with the administration, right?
Right.
It was a judge, an immigration judge?
Correct.
Yeah. Which you had, and the State Department or the administration had how much to do with his decision? Zero?
I believe so, but
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Was the State Department not consulted in this decision?
Again, we don't discuss asylum cases. What's that?
Was the State Department consulted about the situation in Balochistan?
I think I said yesterday that we have broader concerns about the situation there and the freedom of the press in Pakistan. And when we do have those concerns, we raise them with the government of Pakistan.
But what is your view on the nationalist movement and the separatist movement in Balochistan?
Again, more broadly, we do have concerns about the situation in Balochistan. We've addressed those concerns with the government of Pakistan. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
The question in Pakistan media is coming out is the U.S. is supporting separatist Balochistan movement. Is that the case?
That's not the case.
Thank you.
Different topic?
Yes, sir.
Yemen?
Yemen.
Back to Ali Saleh.
Do you have, first of all, do you have anything new for us on Yemen? And then I'll ask.
First of all, do I have anything new?
Yeah.
We believe that President Saleh, we're still waiting. We've seen yet more signs that he seems willing to sign the GCC agreement, but to date we haven't seen any action.
We have seen a great deal of violence in the last
have.
few days, and in fact, yesterday, artillery was directed against civilians and so on. Why is it so difficult for the administration to say that it is time for Ali Saleh to step down, rather
Well-
than they saying he must agree to the terms
Well, look,
enunciated
say
in the GCC.
President Saleh himself has said it is time for him to step down. He just hasn't acted. So,
But
I
he-
agree. We share your frustration that he has come to the table now several times with the apparent intent of signing this agreement only to back away. And so we would urge him to do so that a political transition can take place.
Yeah, I'm not near as frustrated as I'm curious as to why you cannot say, it is time for him to leave.
Again, there's already a mechanism, a glide path, if you will, for that transition to take place. He just needs to sign pen to paper. He's agreed to do so. We're looking for him to do so.
Okay, but do you feel that his continued presence will continue to exacerbate the situation and engender a great deal more violence?
We believe that he should sign the agreement, and then which will allow a transition to take place, and that's the best way to end the violence.
So you
Yemen.
do believe that the sooner he steps down, the better?
We believe the sooner he signs the agreement, and a political transition starts, the better, and the better for ending the violence in Yemen.
But
Yep.
how sooner? How sooner? There is no call on him to step down while there is a lot of pressure on Syria. There is a lot of complaint in the region.
Well, we do,
about the double standard, they call it.
There's no
Why-
double standard, and in fact, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach to any of these situations. We are deeply concerned, as we've said many, many times, about the ongoing situation in Yemen and the ongoing violence between various factions and between the government and the opposition. We want to see this agreement go forward. We've called on Saleh to sign it many, many times. He has indicated that he will, but as yet, as I said, to put pen to paper. I agree, it's frustrating.
It doesn't look like.
No, so Assad repeatedly says he's going to stop the violence, but then he doesn't do it, and he's strongly condemned here. Saleh says he's repeatedly going to sign the GCC agreement, and he doesn't do it, and there are just more calls from this building for him to sign it, not strong condemnation.
We condemn the violence that's happening in Yemen, and in part that is exacerbated by the fact that President Saleh has not signed this GCC agreement, and we urge him to do so. Lali.
On Afghanistan, the U.S.-Afghanistan strategic partnership, when do you think that will be completed or signed?
I don't know. I don't have anything to announce. You're talking about, again, the
Strategic partnership, yes, yeah.
between...
U.S. and Afghanistan?
Oh, Afghanistan. I'm sorry. I thought you said Pakistan. I apologize. I was momentarily confused. As I think we said before, we continue to talk to the Afghan government. As you know, there's a Leah Jirga that's scheduled for tomorrow. And, as we said many times, we want an agreement that's in the best interest of both our countries. And so we're not going to put a timeline on that. It's better to get it right rather than fast, I guess.
There is
what
an
I would say.
increasing view in Afghanistan amongst the parliamentarians there that when they have MPs elected from their constituency, what's the need of the Loyal Jirga endorsing or supporting U.S.-Afghanistan strategic partnership? Doesn't it undermine the democratic institutions of Afghanistan?
You're saying, what look, the Loya Jirga, as I said yesterday, is a traditional way for the Afghans to talk about many issues, and we support it. And, we believe that, that it's going to lead to an reaffirmation of our strong alliance with Afghanistan.
But you already have a parliament where members are elected from their constituencies and they have their own decision on this. So what's the need of the parallel institutions there?
We believe both systems have validity. Go ahead.
Mark, also on Afghanistan,
Yeah.
the International Monetary Fund approved a loan to Afghanistan for the first time in more than a year since the collapse of the Kabul Bank. I wonder if you have a reaction to that and whether the United States now advises countries that had withheld the delivery of aid to Afghanistan because of the bank issue. Does the United States advise them now that it's okay to...
I'm sorry, the last part of your question again?
A number of countries, because of concerns about the banking system there, have been withholding aid. Given that the IMF has now
Right.
started sending money, does the United States advise countries that have withheld aid to
Well,
deliver?
Sure. We certainly support the International Monetary Fund Executive Board decision to approve a country program for Afghanistan. We do believe that there's more work that needs to be done to reform and modernize Afghanistan's banking and financial system. But we are encouraged by the Afghan government's actions over the past year to deal with, in a proactive way, to deal with the Kabul bank crisis, and as well as to respond to the International Monetary Fund's recommendations. These actions include enforcing accountability, safeguarding financial and economic stability, and building a strong banking sector, or stronger banking sector. So, we believe that this shows that the Afghan government is able to address serious reform issues. We do think, as I said, that more steps are needed, and we're going to continue to urge the Afghan government to implement reforms that are necessary for meeting all of the IMF's recommendations. Yeah, Joe.
Those were responsible for the collapse of the Kabul bank. No action has been taken against them. Aren't you pushing Afghanistan to take?
That's really an internal matter for the Afghan government and the Afghan judicial system.
Iran.
Yeah, sure.
Iran. There's been a series of things that are happening. The explosion at the missile base, reports of spyware against their computers and other countries, assassinations, Stuxnet, a lot of things. So experts are saying now that we're witnessing a covert war against Iran. I mean, how would you characterize it?
You're asking me to talk about
Yes.
possible covert action against
Yes.
Iran. Forgive me, Jill, if I take
but
a
I
pass.
mean, just in general, I'm
can't.
not saying the U.S. Who's doing it? Is the U.S. involved? I'm just saying.
Jill, frankly speaking, I have nothing. I know nothing to say on this matter. We have been very public about our position that we believe that Iran needs to come clean about its nuclear program, and the way to do that is through the IAEA, the P5+1 process offers them a way to engage with the international community and address these concerns, the concerns that were solidified in the IAEA's report from last week. But as to covert action, I can't comment, and I don't know enough to comment.
What about the alleged plot? They ran.
Impersonation did quite well. On Iran, though.
Thanks for the comparison to Sergeant Schultz. It's quite an honor.
Well, you were the one that said, I know nothing, right? The appropriately acronymed Board of Governors of the IAEA meets on Thursday to consider Iran. What are you looking for from the BOG? And would you like them to refer this to the Security Council, even if the Russians and the Chinese look like they're going to appear likely to veto anything there?
We remain very concerned about the allegations made by the report last week. It is increasingly apparent that Iran, as the report stated, continues on aspects of its nuclear program or elements of its nuclear program. Even though the program itself appears to have ended in 2003, this is an issue of great concern to us, as we've stated. The Board of Governors is meeting. We're looking for strong action. We're also looking at other ways to increase the pressure on Iran, and be they multilateral or unilateral.
Right, but when you say you're looking for strong action on Iran from the Board of Governors, what does that mean?
Again, you're asking me to prejudge the outcome of
No, I'm not asking you to
meeting.
prejudge the outcome at all. I'm asking you what you would like to see, not what's going to happen. Because as we all know, you don't always get your way. So I'm certainly not asking you to prejudge what their final decision will be. I'm asking what the U.S. would like to see the Board of Governors do.
We want to see them take additional action to put the pressure
like
on
what?
Iran. Again, I mean, there's a variety of mechanisms.
Does that mean
they
referring it to the
There's
Security
a variety
Council?
of options, including what you just mentioned. But again,
Can
we're
you
not going to talk about
Well, then
what these possible decisions that they may take. They're consulting right now. They're
If we're
looking
gonna-
at the report.
Let's not talk about the decisions. Let's talk about the options they have. What would you like? What kind of options, other than going to the Security Council, would you like to see them at least consider, if not?
Again, we're going to
approve?
let them consider, and we're not going to get out and negotiate this in public.
You do know, you are aware of what the options are, aren't you?
Certainly, but I'm not going to talk about them in public, one of which is referring to the Security Council, which they did with Syria last year. But again, these are options that